I decided that I wanted to get a mentor because I'm not from Cincinnati, and I knew that I kind of wanted to be in Cincinnati after I graduated. So trying to find relationships like Damien and through Damien, just trying to find kind of my own network of people to connect with and kind of get to know the city better, what it has to offer me in terms of careers after graduation.
I've given her a list, like, here are some contacts I have that may be of interest. And then out of that longer list, she said, these 5 sound like the most interesting. So then I would do an email introduction. Yeah. And then, it was up to Maddie to really follow up with them and set up what we're calling informational interviews. So just find out a little bit more about what they do in their day-to-day role.
Since meeting Damien, I thought that I wanted to go kind of directly into some type of human resources role. And through the connections that you've been able to make me, it's really kind of shifted the possibilities that I think are out there after graduation.
She has a lot more confidence now. Like, she's a lot more sure of what she wants to do. She has a better idea of what career means post-college.
My first meeting with Jessica, my mentee, was at the Xavier Starbucks. And we just had coffee and just kind of hit it off. And then we talked about, at that point she was thinking about getting a job, an extra job besides going to school. So I did have some contacts that I gave her.
I started applying at different hospitals and ended up finding my current job. And then she has continued to introduce me to all these different physicians who work for Christ Hospital, which is where I'm currently employed. And through her, I've met multiple physicians and people who are in that field through them.
I belong to the Foreign Policy League of Cincinnati, which is now under the auspices of the Brueggemann Center. And we usually meet at Xavier, and they bring in ambassadors, speakers from really all around the world. So I've been taking Jessica to those as my guest, and I think she's really enjoyed those.
I think I've grown in my communication. I've gotten much stronger in my dialogue with certain people, whereas I am kind of a shy and timid person by nature, and I'll kind of like sit back, listen, and watch instead of be somebody who's like interacting heavily. So I've learned how to step out of my shell a little bit.
So my mentor, considering she's in marketing and I'm also a marketing major, she's helped me with her network by helping me network with her network. Talking to people that she knows, inviting me to different things that she knows people at, things of that nature.
I've had him go onto my LinkedIn profile. I have a lot of people on my LinkedIn profile, and then he said, I'm really interested in this person, and then I'll set up a conversation with them and then let him go with it.
I think some of the things that she's told me will help me shape the way that I go about my career, and the fact that I want to go different places. I have a desire to travel a lot. I have a desire to not be stagnant for too long. But at the same time, it's important to remember those people that help you get from point A to point D, and point D to point F, and so on and so forth. Also, just being yourself when you talk to people, that's really important, because if you act a certain way, that's not who you truly are. When it comes time, when pressure's on, when things are happening, and you act differently all of a sudden, people are thrown off by that, and that's not a great thing in some cases.
I don't just give him advice. I get things from him. And sometimes I'm just like, this is what I've done and you can do different, and I've learned from him. And I think that's the best part, is just kind of that two-way conversation.
You know, I've connected Kyle with many of my colleagues, both in the P&G network as well as just personal friends.
Normally how it'll go is I'll end up meeting with them, sitting down, and I kind of get a greater knowledge of how their path was after school and how they ended up in the field of marketing research.
We often talk about the intangibles, or how do you work with people who are different than you, or how do you deal with conflict? Sometimes you and another person might not get along very well, and how do you kind of approach that and deal with it? So those are the kinds of soft skills, as we might say, that we really want to help people get an appreciation for, so they're not blindsided when they get into a workplace and start to have to deal with these kinds of topics?
I've grown in confidence, and professionalism and communication are definitely the top 3 for me.
Well, you know, Kyle's been a very confident person from the first time he and I sat down for breakfast. But I think he's matured in ways because he's a rugby player and he loves sports. And I think he's found the right balance between extracurricular activities and sports and how you really focus on your academics and also kind of develop your own leadership skills by working in clubs and other kind of extracurricular activities outside the classroom.
There's no negatives to having a mentor. I think everything is positive in that aspect, but it's definitely what you put into it is what you'll get out.
You kind of let them know that you're a resource for them. It's a confidential, safe place where they can ask you questions that they might not feel comfortable asking other people in other settings.
I've learned that kindness and humility go so far in like every aspect of like when you're meeting new people and when you're trying to make connections.
And for me, it's been very, very rewarding, and it's great to see them grow and become adults in their careers.
And I've just learned so much more about nursing, so much more about professionalism, and just so many things I would not have been introduced to if I would have decided not to get the mentor.
It's heartening to me to know that, you know, my time at Xavier and then my time in Cincinnati have helped me make connections with people that can help the next generation.